Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to Planning October with me using the astrology. I'm going to be doing this in a multitude of different ways. It's going to be a little challenging to do without my regular camera, so I'm going to do a lot of screen recording. I'm going to go ahead and pull up my Google Calendar. We're going to walk through the calendar. There's going to be a lot of things that you're going to want to go ahead and grab for this live stream. Whenever you're hopping in, you can jump in whenever is convenient for you. And then the replay will always be here. So you can always go back, watch it over again. If you're tuning in, pop in, say hi, let me know that you're here. I have the chat pulled open as well. This is my first ever live stream, so super nervous. Hopefully this goes as smooth as possible. We will iron out the kinks as we continue to navigate these and do them over and over again. So again, we are going to plan October using the astrology. This is something I do every single month. I thought it would be a fun way for us to get to know each other, a little bit different than me just hopping onto a video and giving you the astro forecast, the astro weather. So what I'm going to recommend you grab is we are going to need your birth chart. If you don't know how to pull up your birth chart, there is a video that I have on my channel, and it will pull up the chart to look exactly like I have my chart. And what I like to do is I like to get out all my colored pens and I like to fill it in. I'm going to do it on a screen recording today so you can kind of see how I do it. After you have your birth chart, you're going to want your calendar. You're definitely going to want to know what you have on your calendar for the upcoming month, because we are going to put all of the astrological transits up here on my Google Calendar. This is how I did it last month. So we're going to break down the astrology of the upcoming month together, and you can follow along and put it on your Google Calendar. So every day you get a notification, you know what's going on, and then you can plan your month ahead. So as we're jumping in, say hi if you're here to support. Love to connect with you all. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Mandy Rose. I consider myself the relational astrologer. I love using astrology as a tool to ultimately have better relationships. That is my goal. Every time I do a reading for someone, I'm always answering questions about relationships in their life, whether it's romantic, their children, friends, bosses, coworkers, whomever. So I love taking this lens. When it comes to navigating the daily astrology, I not only have a astro weather report. Hi, Lisa. Good to see you. Let me know if there's any tech issues. It's my first time. Love having you here. I do an astro weather Telegram channel where I send a daily voice memo to all of our astro family that's subscribed to help them navigate the daily astrology. So what we're covering today is kind of an overview. Anyone that's joining us from Telegram, this is your preview, your sneak peek of the voice memos to come as we navigate it and break it down in more detail. So I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that you're joining us. I have been in the craziest time portal, energetic portal. I live in Tampa, Florida. So with the hurricane coming through, it has been a wild week of preparation, enduring the storm, and now post-storm, helping people clean up and recover has been absolutely wild. And in the meantime, while all this has been going on, I have been in a deep portal of creating and writing the 2025 Astrology Alchemy Journal. This journal is my baby. It is all channeled. It is my 5th edition. It was created after a crazy year in my life. 2019 was absolutely wild. I talk a lot about that story in other videos and other places. So I created the journal from using the tools of astrology to navigate my own life and to recover from this crazy season. So I love going into this portal to create the new editions for you all. If you have purchased the journal in the past, please let me know in the comment so I know to thank you. The pre-sale is already on live for the journal. So with pre-sale, you get one of the first copies from the publishing company. You're going to get a bunch of perks, a bunch of freebies. It will be in the description box of this video. But I'm super excited for you to see all the updates. I'm not going to spoil it. There's new pages, there's new layouts, there's more information. So if you've bought the journal before, this one is going to look a little different. So hopefully you've had time to grab all the things that you need. If you don't have your birth chart or any of those things, you can come back to this video. Just follow along with me. Again, we'll be on live for about an hour. I could talk on and on about astrology, but we will jump right in. The first thing that we're going to need to do is to figure out where the planets are in the sky for the month of October. So the first thing I always do is I look up what's called an ephemeris. So let me go ahead and pull that up here for you so you can see my screen as I pull this up. And if you have any questions about astrology while I'm on, I'd be happy to answer them for you as well. So let me pull up the ephemeris so you can see here how that's going to look. So let me go ahead and pull this up for you. So this is an ephemeris. I love using this website specifically, horoscopes.astro.seek. And essentially with an ephemeris, what you are doing is you are looking for the month that we're in. So I pulled up October here, October of 2024. And I'm looking to see where all the planets are in the sky, where they are starting at the beginning of the month. And on the 31st, when they end the month, where are they ending in the sky? Once I have the degree points of where each planet is traveling in the month ahead, I now go ahead and pull up my own birth chart. And so I do this ahead of time. Let me show you again. This is something I've already done, but I'm going to walk you through. So if you want to grab your chart, I'm going to walk you through how to do it. So with that, I'm going to give you the degree points. So if you want to write them down, grab your pen and paper. I'm going to give you the degree points, and I'm going to fill it out on my chart so you can see how we do it. And I know I'm going to be switching screens a lot until I figure out how to be tech savvy. Just bear with me again, you guys. Say hi if you're hopping in. Say hello. I love connecting with all of you. Thank you for being here. I'm going to pull up here my chart. If I can pull up my chart here. Give me 1 second. Any questions you guys might have too about astrology, pop them in. I'm happy to answer them. Okay, so let's see here if I can pull up this screen for you all to see it. Okay. Nope, not happening. Okay, so we're going to try it a different way. Let's go back to the screen. We're going to pull up here my astrology chart. So this is my chart. And what I like to do, and if you need help pulling up your chart, again, I have a video on my YouTube channel that pulls it up to look exactly like this, okay? I find that this is the easiest chart to use, one, because it's whole sign systems. If you guys don't know, I practice whole sign systems. It's the easiest format for me. With whole sign systems, I'm able to see exactly what house, what area of my chart is being impacted by the astrology. And then it also gives me a clear picture of not only where my planets are, which are the black glyphs here, but also the green planets on the outside. I clicked it starting today, the transits today, so I know where each planet is beginning. So let's start out. You're going to want to grab a pen and paper as well, because we want to see if we have any conjunctions in your chart. So the first thing I like to do is always looking at the sun. Where is the sun traveling in the sky during the month ahead? So as we begin October, we are looking at the sun starting out at 8 degrees of Libra. So you want to look in your chart. Do you have anything at 8 degrees of Libra? And the sun is going to travel from 8 degrees of Libra all the way till 8 degrees of Scorpio. So you want to look in your chart to see, do you have anything from that point until 8 degrees of Scorpio? And as we can see, I have lots of planets here. The sun is going to cross this month. So what I like to do then on a piece of paper is I note down the degrees I have planets that the sun will conjunct. So for example, I know the sun is going to cross over my south node. So I'm going to make a note here, sun. And then once I write down the sun, I'm going to write down my south node is at 21 degrees. Venus is at 23 degrees. And then my ascendant in Scorpio is at 2 degrees. and Pluto is at 5 degrees. So I know that the sun is going to hit all 4 points in my chart this month alone. So that is definitely a heavy, impactful month for me. And I want to know exactly what dates that's going to happen. So that's where we go back to the ephemeris and we look to the ephemeris. Go ahead and pull that up again. I'm going to look to the ephemeris to see what is the date that the sun will get to 21 degrees of Libra, which is where my south node is. And I see here that it's on the 14th of the month. So I'm going to make a note that on the 14th, the sun in the sky is going to hit my south node, my past, what it needs to be removed, what I'm clearing, what I'm getting away from. Then the sun gets to 23 degrees of Libra, where my Venus is on the 16th. So I want to take note of that because the sun heats things up. And if Venus is my feminine energy, it's my ability to receive and attract and make my life more beautiful. I want to know when the sun is going to heat that up in the sky so I can plan that day to do something very in flow, something creative, maybe have a conversation with someone, spend time with my romantic partner. This is a day I'm definitely going to mark on my calendar to plan around, to do something special on. Does that make sense? If you guys have any questions, again, just like hop into the chat, but that's how I'm going to plan it. So then again, going back to the ephemeris, when the sun gets to 2 degrees of Scorpio, it's going to hit my ascendant. So that's going to be on the 25th. So I'm going to take note of that. And the same thing when the sun hits 5 degrees of Scorpio, it's going to cross over my Pluto. So again, going back to my chart, I want to know exactly when the sun is going to cross over these. So I know what is going to be activated by the sun. So do the same in your chart. Now we're going to kind of navigate and go a little bit quicker. I wanted to do that first example for you so you can kind of see what it is I'm doing and how to kind of take it step by step. But now let's go a little bit quicker. We are then going to look at the full and the new moon. When we look at the new moon, it is going to be an eclipse this month. So how we're going to do this is you're going to look to Libra, the Libra area of your chart. Oh, this is a little bit easier for you guys to see. The Libra area of your chart. And once we look at your chart, the Libra new moon is going to be at 10 degrees. So these are each one of the degree points, and you want to go to about 10 degrees. I don't have any planets at 10 degrees. You might. And because it's an eclipse, I would say that it has about a 3 or 4 degree orb of influence. So if you have any planets, say from 7 degrees to about 13 degrees, it might be impacted more heavily by this eclipse. So if that's the case, you definitely want to know that. Now, you can notice I don't have any planets here. But when it comes to the new and the full moons, it's going to be very important to understand where that new moon is happening, what house, what area of your chart, because that's going to be the area of life that you have an opportunity for a new beginning, a new fresh start. And when it comes to the full moon of the month, that wherever that is occurring, which will be in the zodiac energy of Aries, is going to be the area of your chart where you have an opportunity to release, to let go, to shed. It's going to be highlighted. It's going to be illuminated. You're going to see that area of your life very clearly, okay? Because it's been 6 months since the sun has been there. It's been 6 months since Aries sun season. So now the moon is going to come and illuminate it for a check-in 6 months later. So check your chart again. Now the full moon is going to be at 24 degrees of Aries. So I see here that my north node is at 21 degrees, which is within that 3 degree of orb of influence. So I know that at that full moon, my north node is going to be activated. This is really important because your north node is your North Star. It's your destiny. So I know around the time of that full moon in Aries, I need to pay attention. Something is coming in. Something is being highlighted for me, a course correction. It's in my house of health and wellness. So it's definitely giving me a memo that I need to prioritize my health this month. Something might be illuminated at that time that I haven't been paying attention to, my vitality, my wellness routines, things like that. I'm currently doing a 75 high vibe challenge. So I need to get my act together and make sure that area of my life is strong before that full moon comes in and illuminates something. Hello, my fellow Scorpio rising. Hello, hello. So if you're a Scorpio rising, it's going to be very easy for you to follow along with my chart today. So the new and the full moons, know what areas of life they're activating, where the new beginning is happening for you this month, and where you might be shedding and releasing. Now, remember, when we get to that full moon in Aries, that is going to be on the 17th of October, and that is going to be the halfway point of the astrological year. Because when the sun moves into Libra, it marks the halfway season. We're in the second half of the astrological year. And so now we are really trying to illuminate what still needs to be accomplished in the second half of this year. Then we move into Mercury. So let's move on to Mercury. Mercury is right here in the sky, starting out the month at 9 degrees of Libra. And he's going to move from 9 degrees of Libra to 26 degrees of Scorpio, following the sun. He's literally piggybacking right behind the sun and doing a very similar dance. So what we want to do is the same thing we just did for the sun, is we want to look to see if we have any planets that Mercury is going to cross over. And then we go to the ephemeris to look at what date that is actually happening. So I'm going to actually end up taking the same notes I took before with the South Node at 21 degrees, Venus at 23, my ascendant at 2, and Pluto at 5. So now I'm going to go back to the ephemeris. I'm going to go into the Mercury category, and I'm going to look up the dates that Mercury is at 21 degrees of Libra, which is right here on the 8th to the 9th. So I'm going to make a little note of that. When he gets to 23 degrees and hits my Venus, I'll make a note of that date. And then when he gets to the ascendant at 2 degrees on the 15th. And lastly, when he hits my Pluto at 5 degrees on the 17th, which, as we know, the 17th is the full moon, which is activating my North Node. So very important day for me. I'm going to definitely circle that in my calendar right now as we're talking, that full moon is going to bring something to my experience because it is a full moon and it's something I need to see. So now let's go back here. We're going to go back to my chart and we'll move on to Venus. Important to know, wait, before we go back, let's go back to Mercury for a second. If you don't have Mercury activating anything in your chart, it doesn't mean that it's not important. Wherever Mercury is in your chart is your mind. Where is your mind right now? What should you be thinking about? What should you be paying attention to? We can see here that Mercury is in my 12th house. So this is the house of dreams, of behind the scenes realms. Like right now, my intuition is extremely heightened with Mercury here. And then when Mercury gets into Scorpio, then I know that that is going to be a time where I'm thinking a lot about myself, my identity, my appearance, what I'm wearing. I'm rebranding myself. I'm having conversation about my needs and my wants, because that's where Mercury is going to travel. So wherever Mercury is, whatever house he is in your chart, for the month ahead is going to be where your mind needs to be, what you're going to be talking a lot about, and the people that are associated with that area of your life, you're going to have a lot of connections and conversations with. Okay, now let's move on to Venus. Venus in our chart is going to represent what we are currently attracting, what area of life we are bringing beautiful things into, and she's going to represent what we're loving right now. Okay, so Venus this month is going to move from 9 degrees of Scorpio all the way till 15 degrees of Sagittarius. So you want to check your birth chart. Do you have any planets that Venus is going to cross over? And I see here that Venus is going to cross over my Saturn when she gets to 3 degrees and 33 minutes. My Saturn is at 3333. And that's it. That's the only conjunction. So do the same thing. I go back into my ephemeris. I'm going to go down to Venus when she gets to 33 degrees of Sagittarius, which will be about on the 20th into the 21st. I'm going to take note of that, and then we'll move on. We move on to Mars. Now I'm going to go a little bit quicker because, again, I don't want to bore you guys with my chart, but you can follow along and do this with your own. When we get to Mars, Mars is in the zodiac energy of Cancer. We can see him up here. He is going to move in Cancer from 14 degrees to 28 degrees. So again, Mars is also going to be crossing over my moon. Mars is, taking action and making decisions. He's in my 9th house. Wherever Mars is in your chart right now in the zodiac energy of Cancer is an area of life that he has parked his butt in, and he's going to help you make decisions, rearrange, strategize, take action around that area of your life for an extended amount of time, all the way until April of 2025. He has not been here in 2 years. So this year on his return, he's like, I'm going to hang out here for a while because this area of life needs to make some decisions. We need to move forward. We need to put our energy towards this area of our life. So I know with my moon being crossed, that this is going to be emotional for me. There's going to be my instincts, my intuition are going to guide me in the direction I need to go. It's in my ninth house. So this is about exploration, checking things off my bucket list, hiring a mentor, expanding my knowledge, my wisdom by trying things out like this live that I've never done before. But I just know that with Mars here, it's time for me to make some decisions. So here we are expanding ourselves out of our comfort zone. So hopefully that makes sense. Let me know if you guys have any questions in the comments. I keep checking it. So then we move on to Jupiter. Jupiter in your chart represents wherever he is at this current time for the year is the area of life that you can find some gifts, some blessings, some opportunity. And I see Jupiter here in my 8th house, and he is going to be retrograding this month from 21 degrees back to 20 degrees. So this month, Jupiter is going to hit my Chiron and my Lilith. So you can see I have a very active month. Like all the planets are hitting almost everything within my chart. So I'm going to do the same thing with the ephemeris. When Jupiter is starting out the month on the at 21 degrees, he's going to go back to 20. So I want to know the date that he is going to be at 20 degrees. And because Jupiter is a slower moving planet, we can see here from the ephemeris that once he gets to 20 degrees, he's going to be here for quite some time. So I take note of the day that this is activated, and then I will take note of when this is over. So I can see it's going to be the rest of the month. And that means Jupiter is going to rock and roll on my wounds, on healing this Chiron wound, right? Speaking, expressing, Gemini, connecting and sharing my opinions, my thoughts, my belief with the world, tapping into my repressed feminine, and just showing up in the world. So that's what that's going to mean. Then we move into Saturn. We know wherever Saturn is, tough lessons, wherever he is literally hammering us with obstacles to challenge us, to teach us that we can do hard things. Wherever he is, he's been here since March. He's going to be here until next year, and then he'll come back for a retrograde at the beginning of next year. So Saturn this month is going to go from 14 degrees back to 12. So you're going to do the same thing, see if he's activating anything in your chart. If he is, note down that degree point. You're going to go to the ephemeris. You're going to find out when he's at that degree point, and then you will know what date to pay attention to specifically. Luckily, Saturn is not activating anything this month for me. He did, however, retrograde over my Jupiter. So 3 times this year, he is going to affect my Jupiter, but another month, not this month. Uranus this month is moving from 26 degrees to 25 degrees of Taurus. So you can just mark that in your chart. I don't have anything there either. And then Neptune is moving from 28 degrees of Pisces back to 27. Not activating anything in my chart, nothing I have to worry about. And then Pluto down here is dancing between Capricorn and Aquarius. Luckily, I have nothing there either. The last thing I like to look at real quick is the nodes. So the nodes is your current North Star. It's not the node in your chart. That is your personal mission, what you're here in this entire lifetime to learn, to accomplish, to embrace, the energy to infuse into your life. The current North node indicates where in your life you should be focusing your attention, where there's some fated, destined changes coming in. I am currently in my nodal return for another few months as the North node is moving back out of this chart of Aries into Pisces. I had my exact nodal return last year in December when we went to South Africa, and it was definitely very fated for me, a very fated time where it changed so many things about my life. So once we see the nodes, the South node is over here. It is going backwards, also not activating anything in my chart. And then lastly, wherever Chiron is in the sky, Chiron is wounds. If it is activating a planet in your chart, it is saying, hey, this planet, this area of your life is getting activated. There's a pain point, there's a trigger, there's something here that needs to be healed. He's like literally like poking you with pins and needles, or ripping off a bandage that you've had for a really long time and picking that scab, like so you pay attention to this wound again instead of repressing it. We can see here that Chiron this month is moving from 21 degrees of Aries back to 20. So as we start out the month, he's already been at 21 degrees for a little bit of time. This is activating my North node. Also a huge activation for me as Chiron has retrograded back. So this time, 3 times this year, he's activated my North node. So lots of healing for me, lots of focus on my 6th house, my physical well-being, my day-to-day habits, all the things. So again, once I have that all said and done and I have all these dates marked down, I grab my calendar and I note on my calendar the dates of the transits impacting me. So like I mentioned, on the 17th, I've already circled the 17th because I know that's going to be the full moon. I know that on that date, not only is the full moon going to highlight my north node, I'm also going to have Mercury crossing my Pluto on that day. I have Chiron activating my north node on that time. I have Jupiter activating my wounds at that time. Like there's a lot going on. So I just mark that on my calendar. Now, if you guys ever want to know the transits of the month ahead, that's what I do in my monthly forecast video. I know so many of you just jump right to your rising sign, but if you want to go back, hit the timestamps and I list every single planet and I put the degree points up on the screen. So for November, you can go back and you can, check it out right away without pulling up the ephemeris. So when you're watching my month ahead forecast videos, have your birth chart handy because I will literally guide you through this entire process in that video. So with that, now let's go ahead and talk about the dates, how to pull up your Google Calendar and mark all the transits. This is like one of my favorite things to do every single month. So this is my Google Calendar. This is what I did for September. If you watched my September plan with me video, we put this together in that video. Now we're going to do the same for October. So what I love about this is if you have your Google Calendar synced to your phone, every morning I wake up and I'm like, oh, yep, okay, this is the transit that's going on. And this is how it's going to feel. So you can see here I have different colors. So let's go through the colors first. Gray, I note transits. When one planet moves from a certain zodiac sign into another zodiac sign. Dark blue represents retrogrades. Anytime a planet goes retrograde, comes out of retrograde, marking the halfway point of a retrograde, I want to know when a planet is changing direction and changing energy. I mark that in dark blue. Then the blue here is the neutral color. This is the default setting. So you'll see when we start putting things in our Google Calendar, this is the default. I leave the color blue if I'm not quite sure how I feel about the energy. It's kind of my neutral color where it's like, it's not good, it's not bad. It just is. It's just something to be aware of. It might be subtle. The yellows are going to be the new and the full moons of the month. I want to be able to see those. I want them to pop out because especially with eclipses, we know that that energy could be felt for up to 2 weeks before and 2 weeks after. With a new moon, or full moon that's not an eclipse, you can feel that energy for 3 days before, up to 3 days after. So I like to have that on my calendar because I love to do new and full moon rituals to work with that energy. And it does not have to happen on the specific day of the lunation. So I want to know, kind of what my little orb of influence is, the days around the full and new moon that I could still work with that energy. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so then let's go here back to the pink. The pink is dates I'm loving, energy I'm loving, like I'm so into it. I want to mark it. I want to note it. I want to use it in my day-to-day life. The red are going to be challenging days. So I'm like, okay, those are days to be aware of. There's conflict, there's tension, there's change, there's things that are coming up that I might need to rearrange some things in my personal calendar because I now know that those might be some challenging days. And then I have green. Last month we had one green day. The green days are lucky days, great opportunity days. Like, I don't want to say once in a lifetime days, but you guys get it. You get the vibe. It's like, it's rare, and I definitely want to tap into it and do something special on that day. So let's go ahead and plan October. While we're planning October and I go through all these astrological weather events, I'm going to give you a little preview of the month ahead. I know I talked so much about it in my October forecast video, but just letting you guys know how I'm feeling and what I'm thinking about the month. Obviously, I've looked at this month for weeks now as I prepared to plan that video, and it's already been live and posted for a week. I know that October is really bringing in the energy of volatility. It is bringing us to a point at the end of the month where shit hits the fan. It's time for change. It's time for us to step into some powerful, uncomfortable situations. It's time for us to remember that we can do hard things. It's a month where pain points might come up to be activated so that you take action, so you make a decision. and you change certain things in your life. So you'll see that as we go through the astrology. Now we have some dates in the month where there is a lot going on a specific day. So let's start out on the 2nd. On the 2nd, I'm just going to click my Google Calendar. It's going to pop up here with the option, and I'm going to write new moon, solar eclipse. And then you can do this however you want. You could put the degree point to remember. Some people like to put the time that it's happening, like we'll put the exact time. So for example, here, it's like you could plug in exactly when it's happening. I just do it as an all-day event. And then, of course, I'm going to pick yellow because it's a lunation. Now, to make it easier, you don't have to always like go through that whole thing. I could just type it like this. So that way the big screen doesn't open up. So on the 4th, we're going to have Venus trine Saturn. And you could put in, you know, Venus is in Scorpio, and then she's going to trine Saturn, Scorpio. She's going to trine Saturn in Pisces. You could put the degree points, like this is going to happen at 14 degrees, just to remind you again where in the sky this is exactly happening. Now, Venus trine Saturn, it could be a neutral energy, but I like to think of it, anything with Venus where she's in a supportive aspect from another planet, I like to think of that as positive. I love this energy. This is a day where we can really have good conversations and relationships. We can recommit to relationships. Saturn says, hey, commit to people, have discipline, create strong foundations, have, you know, time for people. He's the timekeeper. So are you spending time with the people that you love, prioritizing your values and the things that matter to you? So I definitely want to use this as a day for me to re-solidify my relationship or to spend time with people that I love and show them that I commit to them. So that is how I'm going to use that energy. On the 5th, then, we have Mars beginning his pre-shadow. So this is important to note because whenever Mars goes retrograde, it's our chi, it's our vitality, it's our stamina. And when he's forward motion, it helps us get in the left lane and get things done. But when Mars goes retrograde, then we know that we're not going to be as motivated, we're not going to be as driven, we're going to be a little bit more exhausted. And any decisions that we've made from his pre-shadow onwards are decisions we're going to have to come back to. So I know if there's anything that I want to launch, I want to get done, I want to complete, like anything I need to take action on, I need to do it before the 5th, or I need to just accept the fact that Mars is going to come back and help me course correct, make a different decision, or strategize the thing that I've already begun. So it's not a green light go, it's a start it and then come back because Mars is, you know, working on this area of your life. So I'm going to make this one red. I need to know that this is where the pre-shadow begins. It's at 17 degrees of Cancer. So then we move on to the 6th. So on the 6th, we have Mercury in a square to Mars. So we know that squares are tough and challenging aspects. We know that Mercury is our voice, how we speak, how we communicate, how we express. And square Mars is using your voice to make a tough decision. Mars is a decision, it's action. This is where Mars could be a little fighting, argumentative. Mercury, right, is like messages coming around. So I know that this is not an ideal for me, a day for me to record content, to go live on social media, to have heated conversations with people. This is a day where maybe I need to stay in my mind and think about what I need to do and then take action a little bit later. So I'm putting it down as a red day. Once we get to the 8th, get ready. We got 3 astro weather events all happening on this day. We have Venus in a trine to Mars. We love this energy, the lovers of the zodiac, getting along, having a harmonious conversation. I'm putting this as a pink day, feminine and masculine coming together. They're both in water energies. So this is fluid. This is in flow. This is emotional. Like I am here for it. This is a good day to partner with people. We have Mercury in a trine to Jupiter. Jupiter brings gifts. Jupiter brings blessings. Mercury is messages and communication. I love this energy as well, especially because it coincides with the Mars and Venus energy. And then lastly, the 3rd astrological weather event that we have today is Mercury opposing Chiron. Now, I'm not a huge fan of this energy because Mercury opposing Chiron can bring up wounds in conversations, but it also can bring healing. Chiron is a retrograde. And with Chiron retrograde, it's the opportunity to go back to things that are painful, opportunity to go back to things that have already given you an ouchie, and now you're needing to heal it in some way. So I like that day. This is a great day for relationships, communication, negotiation, working with clients, especially if you're in the healing arts, as people's pain points are going to come up and they might want to talk about them. And you can bring the balance of the feminine and masculine within you to support them. So many ways that we can interpret these energies, just giving you examples of how I use it. Now, on the 9th, we have a retrograde day. We have Jupiter kicking off his retrograde. Very important day to note. Retrogrades get the dark blue color, if you remember. Important date to note, because once Jupiter goes retrograde, our opportunities, our gifts, our blessings, all of that dries up. So if things have been working in your favor, wherever Jupiter has been in your chart since May, A-okay, you've probably been loving it. Now things are going to dry up. So people aren't going to get as many clients. Businesses kind of take a back seat. Just things don't feel as expansive or exciting anymore because we need to go back and reflect over the things we've already been given. So just pay attention to that date. Now on the 11th, Pluto comes out of retrograde. So this is a day now where we step back into our power, our inner strength. We kind of get this inner warrior, this inner transformative energy back. So we're willing to move forward and step into a little bit more of our goddess energy, if you will, as Pluto comes out of retrograde. And he's coming out of retrograde in Capricorn for his final month. By next month, he is done and over with Capricorn. This is where I really see the collective world getting a little sticky icky. This is where Pluto has his last chance to transform and catalyze the change necessary in the Capricorn area of our chart, but also Capricorn energy in the world. We're kind of done and over with this top-down kind of authoritarian structure, institutions, over-regulation, over-rules, all of that stuff. We're kind of over it. And Pluto's going to crumble it. So you can see a shift in the world really starting on that date. What if Jupiter was retrograde in your natal chart? Does that energy still apply? So you get a break. This applies also with like a Mercury retrograde. Since you're born under that natal energy, you have this innate ability to see the positive in everything, squeeze lemons to make lemonade out of anything in your life. You know how to take a hard situation and make it better. And so that is something that the collective is learning that lesson during a Jupiter retrograde. You already have that energy. So it's a little bit easier for you. It still applies in the fact that you're going to have to tap into that energy that you have and use it as a resource because it's still happening collectively, right? It's still happening. But for you, it's not as challenging. Hopefully that made sense. I love when you guys put questions in the comments so I can answer them for you. Great question. Hopefully that made sense. Then on the 12th, let's move it right along. We got a couple more to go. On the 12th, we have Jupiter in a sextile. We know sextiles are supportive. It's when the planets are getting along and they're helping each other out. Jupiter's in a sextile with Chiron. And so again, the wounds that we're having right now, the wounds, the pain points that are coming up, Jupiter is saying, hey, you have what you need. Remember, he's retrograde at this point. So he's not giving you a gift. He's reminding you that you have what you need to heal. You have the resources. You have the ability to heal yourself. So I really like that day. It's a good healing energy day and reminding yourself that your body can heal. You can heal your mind, that there are people and resources in your life. So if you are a healer in the healing arts profession, you have a therapist, you want to go to sound baths, that might be a really great day for all types of healing activities. Then we get to the 13th. You guys, circle the 13th. We have 5 major weather events happening on this day, kicking it off with Mercury square Pluto. Not ideal. Because Mercury is our mind and our communication, and Pluto wants transformation. He's in his final moments, right? His final moments of Capricorn, destroying things. I really can see with Mercury being the messenger in news on this day that we might get news of institutions, things, like school systems, things like that starting to crumble. The news is going to be popping off on that day. Can definitely feel it, whether that's in the collective or in your own world. News of transformation is coming in hot. Also, Mercury is going to go into Scorpio. Now, this is a transit, so it's going to be gray. Mercury, when he moves into Scorpio, the mind goes deep. We become an investigator. We want to research. We want to analyze. We want to get to the bottom of things. And so I could definitely see news coming out and people are like, wait a second, let me investigate this. Let me figure out what's going on here. So this is going to be an interesting day for sure in the collective. We also, on top of that, have Mars involved with this energy, and he is square Chiron. Okay, so this squares are tension points. They create change. They force us to make a decision. Chiron is saying we got wounds to heal. We are retrograde. We got to go back over these pain points. And Mars is like, well, we got to make a decision. So this might be a day where a pain or a fear or a wound or a trauma or a trigger or something that's been really deep rooted comes up. And now you have to make a decision, maybe because of the information or the news that was received. But this is an energy where we need to move some old stuff out of our energetic field. Remember, Mars is in Cancer. So this is emotional stuff that could even be ancestral. So pay attention to what comes up here. I don't know if I want to make it red or I want to make it neutral. I hate seeing this much red, but you guys, it's the vibe this month. Like it really is. Then on this day, we have the sun also involved with Chiron. The sun is going to heat this up. The sun is going to bring literally illuminating a spotlight on this wound. So something we want to pay attention to. And then also at the same time, let's see if we can add one more. The sun is going to trine Jupiter. Okay. Now, this could be a supportive energy, but I'm leaving it neutral because given the circumstances of this day, it's not really a vibe that could be helpful. So on this day, all of this is going on. Curious to see how it plays out. I'm not going to do a whole lot on this day. I have a market that I'm going to be attending. So I'm just circling it to know that things might be coming up then. And with this hurricane, that market might be canceled. So if it is, I know it's in alignment with the cosmic weather. Okay, let's move it along. Once we get to this week, let's go back. This week, there is so much going on. It's going to be very Venusian. You'll see in a moment what I mean by that. On the 14th, we have 2 astro weather events. So let's plug those in. We've got the sun square Mars. Again, whatever Mars is fighting about, whatever triggers are coming up, whatever decisions have to be made in our life, trust your intuition, protect yourself. Mars in Cancer is protection, defensiveness. Mars in Cancer is making sure that you're making decisions that bring you safety and security and comfort. The sun is going to heat this up. So this is a red day for sure. We know that there is going to be some tough decisions. The sun is going to illuminate, force us to see them. Venus is going to be opposite Uranus on this day. Ooh, you guys, see what I'm saying? This is not super ideal. On this day, Venus is our relationships, right? Venus is what we love and what we value. And Uranus is here to shake it up, to liberate us, to break free, to challenge us. So there could be some relationship stuff, also financial stuff. Venus is our money and our finances, and Uranus is retrograde. So he is going back to choose change where we couldn't choose the change ourselves. So these days are big days, you guys. Pay attention to this week. Lay low if you can. Allow the universe to play out and just pay attention from a distance. Then we have a day where Venus trines Neptune. So Neptune is retrograde. Our rose-colored glasses are off. We are seeing things clearly. Whatever is coming up with Venus opposite Uranus, whatever is being blown up in our life or changed or liberated, if you will, from Uranus, we're going to see it clearly. We're going to see it from a higher conscious perspective. We are going to trust. We are going to have faith. That is what Neptune is going to bring to all the relationships, the financial stuff, all the things that we value that are getting rearranged at this time. Then we have a day off. Luckily, we have a day off, and we get to the 17th. This is the full moon day, and same thing. We've got 3 astro weather events on this day. Venus is going to sextile Pluto. Okay, so this is kind of a neutral energy. Venus being our relationships, Pluto is going to infuse us, surge us with some power, some strength, some stamina, ability to transform those relationships, or if it's money things that have come up this week, we now have the inner strength and the inner power for transformation to make the change of what was maybe destroyed at the beginning of the week. So I do love that support. But then, of course, we have the full moon. The full moon in Aries, that is going to be a big day overall in the astrology. I'd love to make it red, but I have to make it yellow because I color code it by the lunation. It's going to be a volatile one. It's definitely going to be one where all this energy has been building up, and Aries is fire. It's warrior. It's fighting. It's heated up, right? And so we're going to see some things that we need to face, and it might make us a little angry on that day, but that is necessary. Then on that same day, we have Venus moving into Sagittarius. So we're okay with that energy. It's a transit, so it will be gray. And this is great for relationships because we go from the deep, intense, emotional energy of Scorpio in our relationships, where we've been investigating and having tough conversations and talking about the taboo things and the hard things in relationships. At this day, it's like things get lighter. We now have optimism, we have joy. If we tap into Sagittarius energy, Venus will attract and magnetize things into our life. So it's about having faith. It's about seeing the best in things. It's about expanding and exploring beyond our horizons, getting out of our comfort zone in our relationships or with our finances. I love this. I love this energy. We're going to have it for a couple weeks. So definitely tapping into it. Then, oops, sorry, you guys. After that, we get a little break. Oop, where are we going here? Let me go back. We get a little break. Nothing on the 18th, nothing on the 19th, 20th, and 21st. We get a break, only to get to the 22nd and have 4 astrological weather events going on. So on this day, Mercury is going to trine Saturn. This is a neutral energy for me. Trines are supportive. Mercury is messages, communication, conversations, negotiations, contracts we're trying to sign. Saturn is helping us make sure that we're doing it in a way that is supportive for the long term, making sure it's something we really want to commit to, making sure we're speaking about things that support us down the road. Okay, so I like this energy. Not positive or negative, just want to be aware of it. The sun is going to square Pluto on this day. So again, I like this energy. I'm going to make it yellow or pink. I know for some people, they may not like this energy, but I'm ruled by Pluto and by Mars as a Scorpio rising. So I love that surge of power that Pluto gives us. I love when he helps us create change in our life. And the sun in this square with Pluto is like, something's got to change. Something's got to be different. And now it's time to make that change, to do it. So I'm not afraid of this energy. At the exact same time, the sun is going to officially move into Scorpio season. This is crossing into my ascendant, into my first house. It is my official astrological new year for my chart. So I love this energy. I'd make it pink if I could, but it's a transit, so it's got to be gray. So once we enter into Scorpio sun season, now wherever Scorpio is in your chart is going to, I don't know what's happening here, you guys. Wherever Scorpio is in your chart after the 22nd is going to be the area of life that is going to be highlighted and illuminated by the sun. The area of life that you're going to want to focus your energy, your light, your attention on. And then we have one more astrological weather event on this day. I said it was 4. So let's add it in here. We have Venus trine the North Node. So the North Node is in Aries. Venus is now in Sagittarius, fire to fire, a fire trine. And so we have this opportunity now to move towards our destiny. The eyes on the prize right now is Aries, your main character. Putting your oxygen mask on. Venus is love. So this is about self-love. Take yourself on a self-care date. Do something that infuses your life with beauty and pleasure. I'm in full support of this energy. Just make sure you're putting your oxygen mask on this day and focusing on what's in your best interests. So making sure it's self-care day or taking yourself on a date. It's all about you on that day. And then we get to the 24th. We're almost there. We've got just a couple more weather events. Mars is going to sextile Uranus on this day. So Mars sextile Uranus, supportive energy, supportive of change. Uranus is going to liberate and disrupt and shake things up. And Mars is like, good. Thank you for breaking it down. Thank you for destroying all that stuff in my life at the beginning of the month. Remember all this chaos? Thank you, because now I can make a decision in my best interest. Now I can move forward. Mars is going to help us move forward. So I love that energy. We get a break over the weekend, and now we are going to get down here. Let me move this. On the 28th, we have 2 Astro weather events. So this is going to be a good weekend. Let me just say that. This weekend is going to be good for having a little break. If you want to get away, you want to relax, you don't want to be affected by the astro weather, I would say this is going to be your optimal weekend. This one, you're still going to be coming in hot after that full moon, as that's highlighted and illuminated and can bring up aggression and anger and all of those things. So I wouldn't necessarily like to go and do something fun. You might be crabby. You might not be in the mood for it. What happens at the beginning of the week might affect the end of the week. So I would say wait it out. If you can wait it out and go on like a weekend away or do something really lovely on this weekend, this would be a good weekend to like go on a retreat and do some healing. That might be something that would be really supportive. And then we have on the 28th, Mars is going to trine Neptune. So this helps us trust our intuition. A water trine, Neptune in Pisces, Mars in Cancer, water trines. It's going to happen at 27 degrees of Pisces. I'm just noting that because in my chart, my moon is at 28 degrees. So this is the point where Mars is going to cross my moon sign. So intuition heightened, trusting your divine guidance. I would say this would be a day that if you don't know what decision to make, pray, ask God for a sign, see a medium, see an astrologer. Like intuitive messages are going to come from the other realm to help you, Mars, make that decision. So don't make a decision based on your reality or what other people tell you. I would go above and ask the cosmic guidance, whatever that is for you, for the answers before you make a decision. On this day as well, we have Venus in a square to Saturn. Not loving this day, but it could be supportive to solidify relationships. So after all that we've been through this month, we're going to end it with Venus saying, who do I love? What do I value? What am I going to prioritize? And what am I committing to for the long term? So this could be a day in your relationships where you have to make that decision. You have to determine if this person is really going to support you. So I'm putting it as pink. I know it might be uncomfortable, but I know that wherever Saturn is going to support decisions for long-term goals around finances, relationships, etc. All the Venusian things in our life that we value and we love and we prioritize. And then we have two more. Mercury on the 30th is going to be opposite Uranus. So again, sudden surprising messages, people saying things that shock you, information coming out that you're just like, wait, what? Oh my God, left field, right? Uranus is left field. This is going to be red for sure because I know in the news, I know with the election coming up, I know with you guys, there's going to be left field stuff coming out around this time. It might not be this exact date, but with orb of influence, it could happen really anytime this week. So pay attention to the news. Things are coming up. Things are coming out left field. People might be telling you stuff that you're like, wait, what? Wait, what? No way. And then Mercury on the last day of the month on Halloween is going to be in a trine to Neptune. Love this energy for Halloween. Halloween is all about the magic, the spooky, the occult practices, the occult world, right? It's like witchy vibes. Neptune is the other realms. It's where the veil is really thin and Mercury's our mind. So this is going to be a beautiful day. I am making this a green day. I love Halloween. I love the vibe. I love that this is happening on this day. So we are making it green. This is a beautiful day for all kinds of woo-woo activities. So if you're into that, this is the day for you. This is my month. And I'm going to get notified, when this comes up from my Google Calendar. I'm now going to use this specific calendar that I created to map out my month. So I have my calendar here of all the things that I need to do this month. I might rearrange some things. I have things on my to-do list like film content, clean my house, go on a date with my partner, like all these things. And now I know where to plop them in. And I have some things that I cannot move on my calendar. Like I have a market, for example, on the 12th. And on that day, I know that I have a market on the 13th. Sorry. So I know I just need to be aware on that day. I have a healing event that I'm hosting on the 20th. So I love that as we're coming in hot after that full moon in Aries. Again, I said this would be a great weekend for retreats and healing activities. So love this energy. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Let me know as we're wrapping this up today if you do have any questions. Thank you for being here with me on my first ever live. You're an OG, so please say hi if you're still with me. You can come back and watch this anytime. I'm going to save it. Hopefully it's helpful to everyone that didn't get to hop on live. If there's anything you think I should adjust, open to feedback. Again, Mars is in my 9th house, so getting me out of my comfort zone and expanding my ability to help and mentor people. I would also like to say for the month ahead, that could really help you is I know it's a lot. I know when you're understanding astrology, there's so many moving components. Every single day, the astrology is changing. There's so many planets to pay attention to. So number one, if you want to narrow it down, focus on your primary life coach. Focus on the planet that rules you. Okay. That's probably the most important thing. So whatever your rising sign is, the planet that rules that rising sign, pay attention to what that planet is up to at any given point in time. That is the planet teaching you most of your lessons here on Earth School. So number one. And number two, come join us in the Telegram chat. If you are in our Telegram chat, put it in the comments. I love seeing you all here. Hi, Tashina. Hi, Lisa. We have such a blast over there. Not only do you get your daily Astro voice memos, so you don't have to watch hours and hours of content only to forget what is going on today, but we also have a beautiful group chat going on where we support each other through the astrological transits. I do education days like this. I do channeled messages. It's such a vibe. So that could be something that could help support you for the month ahead as well. So that would be a great resource for you. Don't forget to get your 2025 fifth edition of the Astrology Alchemy Journal, the journal prompts, the bucket lists, the do's and don'ts for retrogrades. Like all of this is meant to help you navigate the astro weather on a monthly and a daily basis. So your pre-sale is going to come with so many perks. It's the first time I've done a pre-sale special. So pre-sale will end on October 11th. So keep that in mind, right when Pluto comes out of retrograde. So kind of align that perfectly. Any other questions you guys have as we wrap it up today? I'm trying to think if there was anything I missed that I wanted to talk about. The last thing I always do when I'm done planning my month, and I kind of do this whole ritual, is of course I go into my astrology journal and I fill out any of the journal prompts that I've missed. Life gets busy, and even though I write this journal and I'm obsessed with it and I use it as my Bible for the year, I sometimes forget to fill out the journal prompts too. So if you're guilty of that, you're not the only one. So I always spend time when I'm planning my month ahead to go back and fill out the journal prompts. And then lastly, and what I'm going to do for you all live is I like to pull a card. And we do this at all the new and the full moon ceremonies in our Telegram channel. So y'all know how this works if you're here from Telegram. I'm going to light some sage here really quickly. And I love to use specifically the Moonology deck. So if you're familiar with the Moonology deck, I use this deck to pull a card to see what the moon is telling me for the month ahead, the lessons I'm supposed to be focusing on. And so during all our new and full moon ceremonies, I usually pull 3 cards and I have you pick 1, 2, or 3 for the message. I've been talking for an hour. I still have to finish editing the Astrology Journal. It's due at the publisher at midnight tonight, so I'll be working on that till the final moments. So I'm going to pull 1 card, and that is going to be the collective message for anyone that has joined this live, what lesson you're supposed to be focusing on for the month ahead. So I'm going to shuffle the deck. I've got my sage here. Thank you again so much, everyone, for joining me. Tushina, for the Alchemy Journal, where do you fill out the journal prompts for the middle and the ending of whatever retrograde or moon energy? So I have a specific journal that I use just for the, let me see if I can find it here. I usually have it right here next to my desk. I don't have it. So I have a specific journal that I use for all my new and full moon rituals when I am journaling around new and full moons, when I'm doing this astro forecasting every single month, like where I'm taking notes on the specific dates that's being activated by a certain transit. I will also use that specific journal to fill out my retrograde journal prompts. So for those of you who don't know, in the Astrology Journal, we have journal prompts for the retrogrades. You're not going to fill it out just once. You're going to fill it out 3 separate times: when the retrograde begins, when the retrograde ends, and the halfway point of the retrograde. And I told you guys I wasn't going to give away anything about the new updated 5th edition, but I'm going to just say this one thing because it's so exciting. I added in reminders when it was the halfway point of a particular retrograde. So when we're in the middle of, say, Saturn's retrograde, which is 5 months long, how are you possibly going to remember 2.5 months in that we're at the midway point of Saturn's retrograde? So now in your journal, in the calendar, and on the specific page around the Astro weather event that is closest to that midpoint, there's going to be a little reminder for you to go back and fill out your journal prompt the second time. And of course, there's a reminder always when the retrograde is over, so you can fill out those journal prompts a third and final time. So I added that this year. So yes, I love having a separate journal that I use only for astrology notes and to fill out these journal prompts. I will fill them out in my journal, but if I need to expand on it, I will add it into that. Okay, you guys ready? Let's pull a card. Let's wrap it up. I said it would be an hour. I'm so freaking proud of myself. You know, I'm a chatty Cathy over here. Mercury and Virgo, as you all saw. So let's pull a card. Oh, this one is sticking out. So the lesson from the moon this month for all of us here is have faith in your dreams. Look how beautiful this card is. And I am going to read exactly what this says. This is the waxing crescent moon. And let's just read it straight from the book. The waxing crescent moon. Let me hold it up again so you guys can see it. Love this energy. Have faith in your dreams. Can't find it with one hand. Give me a second. Okay. Fun fact, it's the second card in the deck. So number 2, don't give up. The situation you're asking about is still taking shape. You're nowhere near the end of the story. Whatever is happening now is just a step along your way. As they say in the self-help classics, everything will be okay in the end. And if it's not okay, it's not the end. That has literally been my motto since I was 14 years old when I started learning astrology. So that's wild. However, the waxing crescent moon card is a reminder that you must still keep working towards whatever it is that you want. If you can't take practical steps, spend time meditating on the question, oh, you guys, what was our astrological weather event? We had Mars in a trine to Neptune, right? Asking the other realms for help and guidance. Spend time meditating on the question you're asking about. Allow your higher self to download the information to you about your next best step. Overall, this card suggests that there's every reason to be hopeful for a very positive outcome to the situation you're asking about. So keep faith. And your motto for the month is, I am focused on what I want. So you go put that on a Post-it note, put it up on your mirror. I am focused on what I want. Laser focus. Remember, we have a full moon in Aries. This is about putting your oxygen mask on, taking care of yourself. We've got the North Node in Aries still. So we are main character energying it up over here. And additional meanings that might be helpful for you is, just because you can't see your dreams, it doesn't mean they're not manifesting. Remember, we have Saturn and Neptune in Pisces below the surface, swimming under the waters, working behind the scenes, doing things that you have no idea yet that will manifest when Saturn and Neptune get into Aries next year. When they both step into Aries, oof, you guys, you put the hard work of Saturn and the faith and dreams of Neptune together, we get our manifestations coming to life. And I can't wait to start talking about the astrology of 2025 with you guys. I'm like, mind blown as I'm putting together this retrograde journal and digging into the details and the nuances of the year ahead. You guys, mind is blown. We got a year ahead. Okay, keep on going. Last messages. Don't look back. Stay focused on moving forwards. Be patient as these events unfold. So with this month, anything that's coming up, be patient as they unfold. The story is not done yet. Dig a little deeper to find more courage. I'm loving it. Thank you all so much for being here. I'm honored that you spend your time with me. You have no idea. If you like these, any feedback, again, share it with me. We'll be back to doing this next month. Maybe I will have updated my technology by then, but hopefully this vibe works for tonight. I will catch you guys in the Astro Weather Telegram channel. If you want to join us over there, there's the free 7-day subscription to come hang out with us. See if it's your vibe, see if it can help you. And of course, I will catch you in the Jupiter retrograde video this month, the Mars retrograde video this month, and the full moon in Aries video this month. So we got 3 videos coming up. And of course, I have a secret project that I'm going to launch this month as well. So good night. Good night. Thank you all so much. And I'm going to end this stream. We made it to an hour and 2 minutes. Bye, everyone.